Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CanHammer Work in Progress special episode on airbrushing. I've had Nick's airbrush for about 9 months, and I actually spent a lot of time cleaning it one time, and then I literally kind of used it to spray a bit of white on my Mastodon, and that was it. So I've decided I'm going to use it. Ironically enough, the guinea pig army I'm using it on is Nick's Works. So he doesn't mind apparently. So that will be fine. And then if it works well, I'm gonna use it for all sorts of shit because I got a lot of shit to paint. So I'm thinking it'll be an efficient way of getting through all these models that I gotta do. So I know zilch about airbrushing, and I can't bring myself to watch hours and hours of YouTube videos. So I'm actually here at Jamie's house, who is an airbrush aficionado.
Don't say it. Not
Anyway, he knows how to use an airbrush more than me, and he does good work. So we're just gonna get Jamie here just to show us a few things on the airbrush, and hope you guys enjoy that. I'm here actually to learn this stuff, and I thought I might as well film it. It's not gonna be a complete, comprehensive, 400-part series on how to airbrush. There's lots of those online. Just kind of go over some of the things he's painting now and show us how he does it. I brought over a Trigon model we can try and do some painting on, and so just kind of see how it goes. So we'll come back when we're ready to go. We're gonna do some just basic spraying on this is James working on my knight here. I have to hit it with silver. For the really noobists out there, such as myself, what when you're looking at videos and stuff, what are the parts that people need to know? Like, what are they called?
I don't really know what they're called. That's a hopper.
Okay.
Most good airbrushes, it will be detachable.
Okay.
It will unthread for cleaning.
Yeah.
I know this one particularly came with a large hopper and a smaller hopper.
Okay.
And then you have, I don't know what you call this, just a nozzle.
Okay, and then the needle's in there, right?
Just kind of controls the spray, that one. Stops it from spraying sideways.
And then the other thing is, what's the difference between like single action or double action?
I really couldn't tell you.
No? Okay.
No,
this is like something to do with this lever.
Oh, so this is one of the big things. So this is an Iwata Neo for anybody who's looking to purchase their first one. It's actually a very reasonable priced airbrush.
Okay.
There's the box. So there's the price. That's Canadian. It was $100.
Okay.
Actually a very decent price. And you can actually see.
Yeah, I think the one I have at home is Iwata. So it doesn't look like that. It's black.
The other hopper. So like sometimes you'll get a small one.
Okay, cool.
So my first one never had this dial back here.
And what does that do?
This dial controls how far back
the needle is.
You can take your toggle. So if you bottom it right out, you can't pull it back at all. It locks it basically. Okay. So it basically lets you control your flow.
Okay. So the further back you pull it, the more shit comes out.
Yeah. If you can back this right off, you're gonna get a massively wide spray.
Oh, so it also controls the diameter of the spray.
Yes, because it controls the flow of air and paint.
Okay.
This nozzle.
Yeah.
So the further in, the tighter, and the lower air pressure, or the same air pressure.
So if you're painting like detail,
you're gonna want it
like screwed down.
Most professionals that like do airbrushing more than I do, they can control that just by doing that. They can just come back. But what I was saying is my first one never had that. So it just had one motion. Yeah. Whereas this stops it from going out. Okay. And that's all that does. Okay. And then this is, I don't know again what you call this. This is what I do every time I take it apart to clean it.
And how often do you clean it? Like full clean like this?
Not too often.
Okay. Like once a month?
Not even.
Not even? And you airbrush like most nights?
Most nights, yes.
Okay.
So this is where like, I don't know, you still have more to go for this. The next step is you take, I'm not going to do it, but you can take this off too.
Yeah, if people need to learn how to clean airbrush, you can just look online like I did.
Exactly. Like I could take this all apart, but I don't want to. I'm going to do some airbrushing.
Yeah.
But most of your clogs are right here.
At the needle,
actually,
right?
Like
between the needle and the outside, or
this.
like in the needle itself?
Right in that part, the little tip. So like I have a tool that takes, if you look really close, it's actually a hex on there, and I have a tool that spins that off.
Yeah.
That's number one spot where most of your clogs are going to happen. I find one of the best tips I have for anybody who gets a clog there is, what I do is I just take this, my needle, and I just push it back and forth real hard.
Okay.
Like to try and push.
So it's actually a clog in the tunnel where the needle goes through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So taking it out causes maybe that plug to fall in further, and then this pushes it out, and you might see it at the end. It's like a thick bundle of like latex, because it's like,
because the paint actually doesn't go through the needle; it goes out around the needle.
No, it goes through the needle.
It goes through the needle. How does it get into the needle?
The air comes out right there, that little hole at the bottom.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah, if you look down there, you can see my needle.
Yeah.
Going through there.
Yeah. So it goes like through.
So that all fills up with paint.
That's where the paint goes. But how does the paint get into the needle?
Right here. When you pull back, it lets a little bit of paint in there. That's why they're very good at using very minimal amount of paint.
I see, okay. So, as they say. Okay, sweet.
So we're going to put it back together. And the first thing I do, when I'm done with my brush too, like when it's all together.
Yeah.
This is another little tip too. They sell a wax. It's called beeswax, I think.
Okay.
You just smear it on your threads to make a better seal. Sometimes these seals don't quite make it.
Okay.
So like when you're airbrushing, you might notice a little bit of air leaks right out of here.
Okay.
I've seen it at the hobby shop. It's called like beeswax.
Okay.
It's just to create a better seal.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen.
You could probably use any kind of wax.
Yeah, anything, grease or
you could
whatever.
use bone wax like we use on broken bones.
Probably. So whenever I'm done painting too, I fill this up with water and leave it.
As you leave the water soaking in there.
Yeah.
So that the paint doesn't harden.
Not only, well,
but
the
do you
paint
like
doesn't
spray
harden,
it through first?
Like when I start up again?
No, but before you've done for the night.
Yeah, when I'm done, I'll run water through it and airbrush cleaner.
And cleaner. Yeah. Okay.
And then when I'm done, I leave water, because if you don't, I find in the morning, the first time you take this and try to pull back, it's all like stuck.
Gummed up.
It's like stuck. I've had it where like this has literally went like you could hear it break off.
Okay.
But keeping water in there keeps it all lubricated.
Okay.
Until your next time.
Okay. Cool.
So this has literally been sitting. You can see how dirty it is. Yeah. So this is what I do for my pre-painting. This one is just water. It's not actually brushed thinner.
Okay, you just use it as a water.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bigger one actually is thinner.
Yeah.
So I don't use thinner first. I just put water in the hopper.
Okay.
Just enough so I can see it. That's about it. And then I turn it on. And I just sort of spray it at my hand.
Make sure there's no
I'm getting
color.
I'm like getting nice good consistency.
Yeah.
Like you can probably see the mist come out if you look at it sideways. It's a nice cone shape.
Yeah, no, it is. Very nice. Wow, it goes really far too.
Yeah. So
like it goes like all the way up to here.
My pressure dial is right here. It's maxed out. I can't tell you what it is because I have no gauge, but I don't touch that dial. I keep the same pressure no matter what.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Just so you know what's going to be coming out.
Exactly.
There's not so many variables.
So what I do is I run it till there's no more water in it.
Okay.
It gets it all, and there, it's done. You can tell when it's done. There's nothing coming out of it. And then I just go straight paint right into it.
Okay.
I'm just going to put this box away.
So we're using some Vallejo Air. You can also use GW Air, and there's P3 Air. I mean, there's so many different companies of air. I actually like these bottles because they have droppers, so you can drop it into the hopper like that, whereas the GW bottles, you can't do that. You have to pour it in.
And rule number 1, never fill it right up.
No. Like one drop of paint will do what kind of surface area we're talking?
One drop of paint?
Like a flat surface area, how big will one drop of paint do?
One drop of paint may do that whole sheet, or maybe half.
What, like in solid color?
Yeah.
One drop of paint will fill this whole sheet in solid color?
We can do it tonight if you want.
Wow.
See how far we can get.
I don't want to waste your paint, but...
And this is another thing, too, is I always do it on a piece of paper first.
Okay.
So we get nice, good flow. And I'm not wide open. This is wide open. It's bigger line.
Yeah.
This is thinner line. So I like that consistency, so we're going to hit it with the model now.
So yeah, so if you pull back, it gets wider and it gets more color.
So we're just going to go like this. Just try and hitting everywhere I can. I'm not too worried about coverage at the first start, because we are going to ink this with a wash through the airbrush as well. But you can see it does a really nice coat.
Oh man. That would have taken me 4 times as long to do with a brush.
And you'll notice I've taped up all the parts I've already highlighted. Make sure you're doing this in a well-ventilated, kids, too.
Which your basement is?
I've got one window.
Not. And why? Just because of paint fumes?
It's these have actual real metal shavings. I should be wearing a mask when I do
so you mean when you use metallic colors?
All paints in general, you kind of want a good area. But metallics, particularly Vallejo, they actually use real metal shavings.
Is it because in the airbrush it gets aerosolized, basically?
Basically.
Because if you're using a brush, you don't need to do that.
Well, you're blowing it into the air.
Yeah.
And your face is always somewhat close to it.
Well, considering my lungs are probably half caked in resin dust, I don't think it makes a difference.
I'm a tradesperson, so... So I think we're kind of good there. After, like, if I find spots that I missed,
you can always
I can always hit them up after.
That's pretty fast. That took like 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
I'm happy with that.
With some sort of solid coverage in one go. Boom. Wow.
And you can see I still got plenty in the hopper. And this was only 3 drops.
Okay. Okay.
So next I'll basically the same thing.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, so I was just saying to Jamie before we started, the main reason why I want to get into airbrushing is because I have a whole army worth of white things to paint up, my sisters and my Astra Militarum, and no way I'm putting 5 or 6 manual coats of Ulthuan Gray and then White Scar on all those things.
I wouldn't recommend that.
No, so whereas if you airbrush it, it's going to be nice and solid, so that's definitely... one of the main reasons I decided to look into it. And then the other color I'm doing, of course, for Nick's army is yellow. And I was trying to think of what's the best way to do yellow other than spray bombing. And so I thought, well, airbrush would be good for that too. So is it different for people? Do you do one whole area and then go in another area, or do you do all the bases first? And I guess it doesn't matter. It's personal preference.
Depends on the model, really.
Yeah.
So like for stuff like this too, I don't want to touch it. Since we put a magnet in it, I'm just going to spray it like this.
Okay. Nice. So you always see online that people put their parts onto cork or whatever, right? Whereas I like to fully assemble things before I paint them. So see, that might be something I have to change.
I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah.
I believe in... it depends on the model. Some can go together. Some I just find are easier without.
Boom! Terminator arm is done.
Go. Pretty good.
Wow. Cool. That took a total of half the time it would have taken me just to do one of those parts. Oh, sorry. Look at this dog. He's looking at me like, what's going on here? Cool. How long does it take airbrush paint to dry?
Not that long.
Kind of similar to normal paint? Or?
Yeah.
So how far away do you hold the airbrush? Is there a general rule of thumb, or it really depends on how much coverage you want to get?
You'll be able to tell if you're too close. it'll start. It gets like it'll start running.
It'll run.
Yeah,
oh, because it just gets too much paint on it.
Yeah, like you got to move it fast. If you're doing real close, you have to move it around fast.
Okay.
But like typically, I'm always about this far away.
Like a few inches.
Yeah. So as you can see, this is good because we're on a live camera here. Nothing's coming out.
Okay.
So there's something wrong now with my paintbrush.
Because there's still paint in there.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's no reason shouldn't be paint coming out of there.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to flip out because I've done this before and
Flip out. Come on, Dave. Flip out.
Just hold that. I can show you here using a piece of...
Yeah,
there's nothing coming out. So we got to find out what's going on.
Okay.
So my first step is I take this off. And I just do like a visual inspection. Right off the bat, I can tell that needle is very thick with paint.
Okay.
So if I take my fingers and just sort of squeeze, don't bend the needle, but just sort of strip it off, you can see it's got a lot less crap on it there now.
Okay.
So now what I do is I try and see maybe that was the problem. Kind of helped a little bit's coming out.
There it is.
Still not quite. I don't want to do that because the worst thing is splatter too.
Yeah.
If you have air, it splatters. It's not good.
Yeah, you want it smooth.
So what I'm going to try is next step. Like this is my next list of things I do.
Yeah. No, it's
useful
that this happened.
I loosen this off and I just take the brush or the needle.
Run it in and
out. I just bob it in and out, and then I just put it back together. And then I'm going to try it again and see if maybe that did it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Okay, so just paint getting stuck.
Yep. It just
that area.
Sometimes it gets built up.
And how often does that happen in a session? Because it could be a pain in the ass if it happens like every 2 minutes.
Not too often. I find if you let it sit.
Yeah.
Like because we're kind of doing a video, I wouldn't be stopping all this time to talk. So I try and use the paint as fast as you can.
Yeah.
I just want to hit underneath here.
But that was useful to see.
So as you can see, it's going nice and good there now.
Yeah.
And like because it's a thicker paint, the silvers, like the metallic paints, do it more often, I find.
Boom. One line, boom. Done.
And there, that's it.
Yeah, and that's a really nice coverage.
So this is my ritual cleanup.
That's a really nice silver. Like it actually looks like it's made of metal now.
Yep. It's the number one.
Yeah. Whereas like what's it called? Lead filter doesn't look like that.
And after we're done with it, it's gonna end up looking like this when I'm done with it.
Like when you do all the shading and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this is just done with an airbrush. You can run inks through an airbrush.
So you don't like brush on your Nuln oil, you spray it on?
I spray it on now.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So this is my I'm done with silver. I'm going to switch to white after this.
Okay.
So I shut my compressor off.
Yep.
I always purge mine right here.
Purge it. Okay.
Before I take this off. That way it doesn't spray out of this part.
Okay.
Yours should have this. This is a condenser. Stops moisture from going into your airbrush.
I don't know. Possible.
So all I do, I'm lucky enough to have a laundry tub in my basement. So I basically just get up. If you want to follow, you can.
I'm not going to see any dead bodies back here.
No. And this is all I do. I just turn this on, hot water, and I just go like that. That's all I do to rinse.
So let's say you don't have a laundry tub. How should you rinse it out? Just pour water in the hopper and spray it out?
Yeah, you can do that. I would recommend doing that if you're going to do it that way. Do it a few times.
Yeah.
So you make sure you get the paint out. And I sometimes go like this.
How about people who say submerge it? And
you can, because I get water all over it. It's
just submerge the hopper so that water just cycles in and out.
You can do that, yep. Because
but then you have to change the water every time.
I've always had this, so I don't know what I would do without this. This is handy having a laundry tub.
Yeah.
I've got an extra one there if you want to install one in the basement.
No, well, we will have one eventually when I get around to renovate.
You know a plumber. So that's all I do. I basically just run it through like that.
Okay, so it goes clean.
It's not even that clean because when I plug it back into the air, you're going to see it's still going to spray silver a little bit. But I'm going to show you what I do here. So I basically just put it back together. And I turn it back on. And then I just spray it. Just to blow all that junk out.
It's gone already.
And then I put, again, this is not thinner, this is just water.
Yeah.
So I'll put water through here.
So a little bit more of a process to change colors than paint, but.
And as you can see, my cone is nice and good again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing you can see, especially on your black shirt. You can see it right across like a big cone.
And that's all I do.
Okay. It's not too much of a hassle.
Nope.
Still more of a hassle than just.
But there are the
bottles,
steps that I do next. Like, I'm going to put white in here, but I'm not going to start spraying. You always spray on a piece of paper because I want to see and make sure white's coming out, not silvery white.
So next up, we're going to spray some of these horse.
I'm going to prime some of them, yeah.
Okay, so we're putting white primer in there now.
And I'm going to want a wide spray, like nice, lots of coverage.
It's probably a lot cheaper than GW spray. Okay. Yeah, I can see how you could prime something pretty quick like that.
So I'm pretty comfortable with that. You just pick up your first one and never spray over top of your finished stuff. And I find it's okay to get her a little thick because it will dry. And you can tell the difference between the two. Like, I don't know if your camera's that good, but there's one that's not done and there's one that is a little more paint on it. You can see kind of a little bit like more white.
Yeah. It's not as fast as spray bombing.
No, but you do get a lot more control. And to tell you the truth, you could still spray bomb. But I find with spray paint, you're kind of at the mercy of whatever comes out of there.
Yeah.
So like,
I don't know. Once you get good at it, though, it's pretty efficient.
If you get a crappy batch of spray paint, you've just ruined your models.
Yeah. The other thing is you really got to make sure. Like yesterday, I tried spray bombing the orcs, and it was too humid. But I tested it first because I thought it might be too humid, so I didn't do any of the actual models. But like the weather has to be good. It's really hard to find a good day to do it in the winter because it's so freaking cold.
Yeah.
Can't do it indoors because it really stinks. So, but yeah, you can literally cover a whole army in like 10 minutes with a spray bomb.
And like, to tell you the truth, this really doesn't take that long.
And you still use primer, right? Like you can't airbrush on like a base paint?
You could, but I prefer primer.
Can't skip a step.
I find without primer, if you just try and paint right on, it chips easier.
Oh.
But I guess if you're putting like a protectant on it, maybe.
We got my Trigon model, which has been primed black. What we're gonna do now is some pre-shading and some highlighting. So we're basically going to paint this sort of carapace on this thing just to show some techniques that we can use. And yeah, so it's gonna be cool to see that. So let's go. So first we're gonna put some white primer, and the principle is that you put this on the areas that are going to be highlighted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever color you put on top of there is going to be brighter than the colors that you put on top of the black.
So for beginners, pick a light source because it's going to look funny if you have your
Different
highlight
light
everywhere.
sources.
Yeah.
So we're going to say that the light's just coming from the top here. Alright, so we'll make sure we got good spray.
So like it's still watery from when I cleaned it, so we're going to keep going until it's not so watery. That's pretty good. And I'm going to tone down my arc because I don't want my spray that wide. I want a little spray.
Oh yeah, it's a pretty little spray. All right.
So we'll do the head here.
We're literally just putting a line of white down the middle where it's going to be the brightest highlight.
Yep.
Okay. And it's a little bit lighter white even off to the side. Alright, and so the top of each plate is going to be lighter, so just hitting that with the white. Like the edge of each plate.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's a pretty sick color scheme, black and white. Just leave it like it is. Ninja Tyranids.
You could if you want.
I find that these plates on the Tyranids are really forgiving. You can do whatever you want with them. You can be as neat or as rough as you want and it still looks good.
And when you're doing this, I find it doesn't really matter too much if, say you make it like super wide, your white.
Yeah.
We can control that when we go back in with the color.
Yeah, or the color.
Because when you go in with the color, it all depends on how much color you want to continuously pour onto that white. Because we can completely cover that white and there will be no shade.
Yeah.
So if you go a little too wide with your white, that's fine.
Okay, so it looks pretty good. So you can see how like the white is just at the top there, and then at the sort of top and bottoms of each plate.
And the whiter it is, like the thicker the white, the more prominent color change you're gonna get.
Okay, cool.
So I'm pretty happy with that.
There. Cool. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. So you can see that the areas are going to be highlighted, like in the classic sort of Tyranid style color scheme, you know, along the edges of the plate there, and it's going to be darker as it gets into the overlap area.
And I don't recommend doing this for Tyranids though. Just, it's more of vehicles I find pre-shading works so much better on.
Okay.
Because you'd have to get all these little plates.
Yeah, you'd have to do it.
These little plates.
It'd take it forever. But actually, for these big plates, it's a good illustration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just doing this to prove a point. I don't recommend doing it for Tyranids.
Yep.
Vehicles, like I said, flatter the surface, the better the pre-shade gets.
Okay. Like Thunderhawk?
Thunderhawks, Mastodons. If somebody should happen to own one Mastodon, let alone 3 maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have 3.
1.5.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to be painting this guy blue. Vallejo model air color, for your reference. Oh, the name is just blue. 71.004. All right, so we've popped it in. We've checked it out. So here we go.
There you go.
All right.
That's about it. Want me to do all the back ones too?
Yeah, sure. Might as well carry on. So you're painting the whole plate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And even if we miss a little, it's fine because the dark blue masks the black.
Yeah. So the black areas are quote unquote pre-shaded and the white areas are pre-highlighted.
Yeah.
All right, and that makes kind of this really nice sort of contrast.
And so, like, if you spend a little bit more time pre-shading, it makes the overall effect much more better.
Yeah.
And if we actually took the time, like, I could have made the white go up a little higher to make the peaks better.
Yeah, so obviously...
I find this is a little too clean of a break here, too.
Yeah.
So, like, again, if you find it's not exactly what you like, you can always just go like this. And we can...
Yeah, just solidify the color and then start again, basically.
No, I can just build up the sides to make that edge not as abrupt.
Not as dark? Oh, yeah. Yeah, just put more paint on it, right?
Yeah, so we can just kind of like do that. So that's the way it's not as abrupt of a color change. You get a little more transition.
Yeah, so I guess if we had spent more time making the transition between the white and black a little bit more gradual, then you would get the same effect when you put the blue on, basically.
And and if you find that transition's too much, just add more blue
to the transition zone.
Or if you find like you don't even like that, just paint the whole thing with the blue. Yeah. Enough blue will cover it completely over again.
And then shade it again. Yeah. That's cool. Cool beans.
And this technique works with pretty much any color, but again, lighter colors you're going to see an easier transition. Darker colors
will be more subtle.
It still works pretty good though, because that's a pretty dark blue over white.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is do your pre-shading. Like take it good.
Yeah.
Like take your time.
Yeah. Well, that's the money stage. Yeah. This stage is just putting blue on.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, question from the peanut gallery, which is just me. What's this business where you kind of do the zenith highlight, or you just kind of spray stuff from the top? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that's a more quick way to get a highlight. I think it's a more professional way. Like, I think it takes more skill than what I have.
Okay, so you just kind of like lightly sprinkle.
Yeah, you basically shoot to where you want your light source from.
Okay. And whatever it catches gets highlighted, basically.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a more professional technique. To me, I think it takes a lot more skill, and there's a lot more variables to screw up.
Yeah, like you could get paint all over the place.
Yeah, or you get a spray coming out like that, or like a clog, or it starts spitting. Then especially like if the model's all finished and you're just putting like a little highlight on it, and then seems it just risky. Spits all over it.
Seems risky.
I'd be pretty upset. So.
Yeah.
This is where my skill levels sort of just stopped. I haven't really gotten to the whole like amazingly blow away customized like highlighting with an airbrush. I find for me this is good enough.
So if you're highlighting more, you'd still go to the brush and do your edges or whatever.
No, if I was more skilled, I'd get a better airbrush, and I would actually hit up all the little recesses. Like I would hit the individual cresses here.
Okay.
Like right along here, like the V's. Like I would like I can show you if you want.
So you were saying that you can actually just shoot like null oil with the airbrush.
Yeah. Or what I'm getting at is I can take white, or I can take this blue here.
Yeah, like a lighter blue.
And I can throw this blue in here, and I can hit just the very tips of all of this shaded light blue, and just make it pop even more with a highlight.
Okay.
If you wanted to do that,
I guess what you could do is just as you go, just keep adding a couple more drops of the lighter color, so your mix gets lighter and lighter.
You would have to mix it in the pot.
Yeah. So you just keep adding it in the pot, and eventually you end up getting lighter and lighter.
What I would do is actually empty this out, put this straight on, and just shoot it right on the very tips.
Yeah. Cool.
And I would mask underneath so I don't hit the darker.
Don't hit the black. Yeah. Cool.
But to me, I don't know. If this model was completely finished like that, I think it'd look pretty nice on the tabletop.
Still looks pretty good. Yep. Yeah.
Like if this whole model looked like that would, and like a nice skin tone to complement the blue.
Yeah.
I think like a very light. You could almost do white skin and then a wash of blue would really make that thing.
Yeah. No, this black-white transition is very striking, right? Like, and that's hard to achieve with a brush.
Yeah.
Not for somebody like me to do anyway.
For the amount of time it takes with an airbrush, you just bang it out.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Any other tips, golden tips for us, Jamie?
Not really. If anybody has any questions, or like if I'm doing anything wrong, or if anybody has any tips for me, leave a comment. I'd love to know anything that can make me do this better.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, Jamie's not a professional airbrusher, and I am a scrub. And this is not. Yeah, this is
from mistakes.
Yeah, this is not supposed to be a comprehensive expert's guide to airbrushing. Just I came to learn some techniques and thought we'd film it. So if people have comments and suggestions and things below, then please do let us know.
And in case anybody was wondering, my setup it's an Ophir. It's actually a makeup brush air compressor.
Oh, okay.
I bought this from
for airbrushing onto like faces and stuff.
Yeah, for makeup, special effects or whatever.
Okay.
It's actually from AliExpress.
Okay.
The whole kit was $70. So my airbrush, this,
wow,
some stencils,
nice,
everything.
Nice.
So very good deal, and
it's like 1/10 the size of the thing I have in my basement.
I don't know why everybody's got the big Badgers. Like I'm sure they're probably a better product or they have better customer support, but literally this has been going good for the past 3 years now, and it's I don't know, it works pretty good. It's pretty quiet.
Yeah. Oh, it's very quiet.
It does have adjustable pressures, so if you just loosen this off,
yeah,
you can see it'll start to go. So you can adjust the pressure. There's no gauges though, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Cool.
I like it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks very much, Jamie.
No problem.
And yeah, let us know below if you'd like to see more. We can always do more airbrushing videos or get different people on and get sort of different techniques and different approaches, which would be kind of a nice break from just watching me paint like a scrub. So thanks for watching, everybody, and hopefully you're going to see some airbrush action soon.